Hi, today we are going to be fixing the iPhone 6 LCD and screen. All the parts will be linked down below in the description. So first, we're going to need the SIM card ejector tool or paperclip, whichever one you have. Remove that and keep that in a safe place so you don't lose it. After that, we're going to need a pentalobe screwdriver or a screw bit that you can put into an adaptable screwdriver. We're going to take that and unscrew the two screws in the bottom of the phone and keep those in a safe place. They're very tiny and you can lose them easily. I recommend taking a sticky note and putting some tape on it. That's what I did, and I just stick the screws on the tape. Or you can get a little magnet thing like I have on the table there. Now just take your suction cup pry tool, and then you're going to need a guitar pick, or in the parts below there's the kit that includes the screws. It comes with a or actually no, it doesn't. The screen comes with the guitar pick. And just carefully go along the sides of the phone and pry up the screen. And be careful when you lift the screen up, because the top of the phone there will be a couple of ribbon cables that will have to detach underneath that metal plate. So now just take a regular Phillips head screwdriver and you want to unscrew those screws, and once again keep them in a safe place because we don't want to lose those. I took out the last bit of screws. Now once you get that metal bracket up, you want to take that guitar pick and you just want to carefully lift those metal ribbon cables off of the Lego-like connector. That's the screen, and here is the replacement, or the old screen. We got to take all the parts off the old screen so we can move them to the new screen. So right now we're taking off the bracket underneath the ear, above the earpiece holder. Once again, make sure to keep these screws separate from the rest. We don't want to mix them in. And there's the camera and the earpiece module. Now be very careful when you're pulling up the proximity sensor and the camera ribbon cables over there, because if those break, you'll have to get some new ones. It's a little glued down on there a little bit, but it's not too hard to get off. Just like that, and then you're going to pull that little piece off. That's the part that's glued on real good. Make sure you keep that in the same pile as the metal bracket you pulled off at the top. Now we're going to be taking the screws off of the side of the phone. There will be a total of 5, I believe. 3 on one side, 2 on the other. This is what keeps the metal backplate in place. Looks like it was 3 screws on both sides. Now we're going to the home button, and there'll be 1 screw on the right side of the phone and 1 screw on the left, and then another one on the right side bottom part of where the home button is. Make sure you put these in a pile by itself with the home button that we will be taking out of the old display. Remember, a Touch ID home button you cannot get replaced and have Touch ID still work. So you'll have to reuse the home button from your old phone with the new display. Be very careful when you're pulling this off. For me, it was a little tough to get that ribbon off from being glued. It shouldn't be as hard as it was on mine though. Now we're going to take the home button out. All you have to do is push it from the front in and it'll pop right out. Now be very careful when you're taking this metal plate off because there's a little sticker at the bottom there where the arrow's pointing to that is attached to it. So you'll have to take that off of the old display as well. This one was also a little hard to get off, a lot harder than the home button. So you'll have to be very careful when you're peeling this off because if you peel this off, you're going to have problems putting your home button back in place. Finally got this piece off, and now we're going to take the new display and we're going to start putting the camera module and the earpiece back in place. They should fit right in there. As for me, there was a pre-built earpiece grate which didn't exactly fit the earpiece in the slot, so I just took that out. Not that big of a deal. The sound quality isn't that much different whether you have the earpiece grate or not. Now those pieces right there, they'll just fit in right into place. Shouldn't need too much hassle with it. Right here I'm just pushing it down to make sure it's in place. And then the earpiece goes right back on top of that. Those little metal contact points is what powers the earpiece. So those will just sit right on top of it, and when you put the metal bracket back on, they'll be pushed into place. For mine, I had a little bit of issue having it sit in place perfectly. But once the metal bracket's on, it'll work just fine. Now you want to take those screws and we're going to screw it right back into place, the way it was when we first took it out. Now we're going to peel that purple shield off of the back of the new screen. I recommend pulling it off from the bottom where the pull tab is. And now we're going to put the metal back onto the new display. And make sure it's sitting on top of that black ribbon cable there, towards the top of the display. As you can see, I accidentally screwed in that metal plate before putting in the metal back plate. So we're just going to unscrew that really quick, put the metal plate on, and then we'll be able to screw it back in. And now we can take the screws and screw it back into place. Just like it was when we first took it off. Now we're going to start with the home button. Make sure that that black piece that I showed you earlier with the black arrow is in place. And you're just going to rest the home button on top of the home button hole, and it should fit right into place. And you're going to use that little tool or any tool to push the little Lego connector back into place. Just make sure that it's in place. And now we're going to take the metal bracket and we're going to put it back on top. Make sure that when you put the metal bracket back on top of the home button that you don't screw it in too tightly, or it won't feel like the home button is being clicked. Now that the home button bracket is in place and screwed in, you're going to take the screws from the side of the phone and we're going to screw the metal back plate into place. Now we're going to screw that one screw back in towards the bottom of the home button. And we got one more screw in the side, or two more screws. Now we're going to take those little Lego connectors and plug them back into their own spot. Be very careful when you're pushing the little Lego connectors back into place. If they're not going in, then you have the wrong connector. Now before screwing the screen back into place, we're going to turn it on and test to make sure that it actually turns on. And there you go. There's the Apple logo. Now we're going to screw that little metal bracket back into place with the 5 Phillips head screws right here. Now put the top of the display into the phone body first, and then we're going to just push along the sides to snap it right back in place. Now we're going to take the 2 Penelope screws and the Penelope screwdriver bit, and we're going to screw those 2 screws back into the bottom of the phone, and there you have a fixed iPhone 6 screen and LCD. Thanks for watching, everybody. As this was my first screen repair, I think I did very well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Put the SIM card back in, and that'll be the last step. Have a good day.